What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with Brett Wilkin, the first man to qualify for the Olympia next year by winning the lead in sports just 2 weeks prior to Miss Olympia this year. So his training partner, Martin Fitzwater, can easily be considered one of the most improved bodybuilders of this past year. And with that motivation, Brett is also gonna be massively improved for next year, considering the fact that his training partner, he is gonna be a Miss Olympia title contender. So, the thing about Brett is that he has been very consistent with the conditioning aspect of the game. Every time he steps on stage, he is absolutely ripped. Every single time he steps on stage, his conditioning has been spot on, except for just one show, and that was the Arnold 2022. And he has also slowly gotten better in the size aspect as well, in all the right areas, since his pro debut at Chicago 2021. Now that being said, although Brett was able to win the lead in sports this year, and that too quite comfortably, but we all expected him to look bigger than what he looked like on the stage. And maybe that was due to the fact he dieted a little too hard, and he lost a lot of muscle in that peak week. But with another solid offseason under his belt for this next season, I believe he is gonna make a very solid first impression at his Olympia debut next year. So Brett was very unlucky in a sense that his Olympia debut that would have already happened back in 2023 if he did not face that digestion problem, because that eventually forced him to sit out of the Olympia just 6 weeks before the show, even though he was prepping for that show for that entire year and he worked so damn hard. And all that dieting, that training and that money, that just went to Wayne. And who knows, maybe Brett will follow his partner's footsteps and do some shows prior to the Olympia this year and make some good money while chasing his dream. So it is surprising that a lot of big names in the men's open bodybuilding, they are rumored to compete at this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro Men's Open Plus. First of all, that show is happening for the very first time. Plus, that $100,000 in prize money. That certainly is a very big attraction. But I wonder, how many of these big names, how many of these big superstars, they will also do the New York Pro? Because Pittsburgh and New York Pro, they are just 1 week apart. So here we have the update from Michal Krizo, who is going to be competing at the New York Pro for the very first time in his career. And the presence of Krizo in any show, in any kind of lineup, that makes it extremely engaging. And the reason we all know is his size and his freak factor, because he is one of the biggest guy in the men's open class. So it has been more than 10 weeks since Michal went through that shoulder surgery. And although he did lose some size, some of his muscles in the recovery process, but I have got to say he has recovered very fast, and it seems like he's back to his normal size again. As we can all see from this update, most of his trademark size, that is already back. And Michal Krizo is always gonna be very dangerous, because ever since he switched from the Elite Pro League to the IFBB Pro League, there hasn't even been one show where Michal Krizo did not show up in a great shape, except his last one, which was the Emperor Classic Spin this year. And the thing is, we know the reason why he was off. It was because of his shoulder injury. And the man was improvising his training for a major part of his prep for this year's Emperor Classic Spain. And that is also the reason he regressed in terms of how his back looked. So how high can Krizo place at this upcoming Miss Olympia next year? Previously he was top 7 in the world, and he can certainly improve his placing, especially if he can add more thickness and more width to his back, because that has been the biggest weakness on his physique so far, or I'm gonna say the only weakness in his physique at this point. Next up, we have the physique update from Josema Beast, the guy who made such a big statement at his classic physique Olympia debut this year, and by not just placing the highest out of all the Olympia debuts that happened this year, but just take a look at all the big names that he was able to beat, Michael the Bull and Vasily Vizers. And we have to keep in mind, one of them is 8 times pro champion, and the other one is the reigning Arnold Classic champion. Initially, many of us thought that he has made kind of a bad call by switching from men's open class to classic physique. Because for those of you guys who do not know or do not remember, he was able to place top 4 at his pro debut at Emperor Classic Spain last year in the men's open. But he just proved to many of us this year that he can be one of the best in classic physique at the Olympia level for many years to come. So his biggest strength we all know is his back, undoubtedly one of the greatest backs in classic physique division, And not just this year, ever since this division was created. And that is the one thing on his physique that has improved beyond imagination since 2021. So that comparison with Ramondino and Brion, that really put him on the map for next year. And he has got to build more arm thickness, especially from the side, because he has got those massive delts, and his proportions will look even better if he has bigger arms. So very few people in classic physique can match that conditioning from the back of Josema Beast. And this is a guy who is gonna enter this upcoming Arnold as a strong contender to win this title. And just because he is so restricted with his weight cap, Josema just cannot afford to have a bigger off-season, and he has to stay within the striking range of his weight cap. Next up, we have a very precise answer from Quinton Beastwood on what to expect from him next year. Now he is gonna beat his New York Pro look from this year, and that too pretty easily, because that I think we can all agree, and Quinton himself also believes, was the worst look of his career. But the way he turned things around for this year's Toronto Pro, where he placed runner-up behind Akeem Williams, when everyone was counting him out, that is a proof right there that for a physique like Quinton, there are other things that the judges consider than just conditioning. Now his shape is just so damn impressive. He is so aesthetic that Quinton can win shows despite not being the most conditioned guy, most ripped guy on the stage. And that is exactly why he was able to beat everyone at Toronto Pro except for Akeem Williams. Now we all know Quinton has been chasing his first pro win for quite some time now, and he has gotten some second place finishes in a number of shows along the way. But the size that Quinton has been able to pack on, and all the size that he is still putting on, that will definitely help him and allow him to potentially win his first pro show next year and make his Olympia debut in 2025. So comparing Quinton to the likes of Samson Dauda and Andrew Jack, that was a bit of an overstretch because he still has got lots to do to get to that size, to get to that level. But that being said, we have to keep in mind that guy is going to be turning 29 next year, so he still has got a lot of time on his side because he is still 10 years younger than Andrew Jack, and I believe he is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the upcoming years. Is Nihat Kaya the youngest IFB pro who is going to challenge the reigning 212 Olympia champion Keone Pearson in the future, maybe as soon as next year? Just 21 years old and getting bigger and growing like crazy. So Nihat Kaya has done just one pro show so far, and that was the White Pro this year. And the old veteran of the 212 that was able to beat him at that show, that was Angel Calderon, who has placed as high as second in the world. And even this year, some fans had a very strong argument and very strong reservations on Angel Calderon beating Nihat Kaya, and they argued that Nihat should have won that show. But now we know, after the scorecards were out, that Angel was able to beat him pretty convincingly. But with the kind of shape and the aesthetics and the conditioning that Nihat Kaya has, it is only a matter of time until he catches up to all these big names. Now I have got to say Nihat has the most unique builds in the current IFB Pro circuit, because you just never see that kind of density and maturity at this young age. He grew a lot in just one season with his coach Patrick Tour, and despite him putting on a lot of muscle in just 1 year, his waist has stayed the same, and the quality of muscle also looks insane. It looks dense and really mature, and that is the goal for next year as well. Now I firmly believe that no one is touching Keone as long as he is in the 212, and Nihat can be the one in the mix, even at his first ever Miss Olympia. But do let me know what you guys think. And also hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.